Grow Your Beverage Brand podcast. I'm your host, Anna, and today we're going to be talking about what brands can do during the COVID-19 outbreak that is taking over the world and the industry. Before I jump in and introduce today's guests, just a reminder for all wineries and wine brands out there, the Sommelier's Choice Awards is still on track for the 12th of August. If you're looking to grow your on-premise presence and get your brands in front of master sommeliers, trade buyers, and other industry professionals, then don't forget to ship your bottles before the 22nd of April. Log on to www.sommelierschoiceawards.com for more information. In today's episode, we're going to be talking with Donald Ferguson, who is the CEO and founder of Teeq Tequila. Hi, Don. Welcome to the podcast. Would you mind introducing yourself to our audience?
So I am Don Ferguson, the co-founder, co-CEO of Teeq Tequila, and I had no previous experience before starting a tequila company. I had no previous experience in the spirits industry whatsoever. I co-owned an independent record label back in the day, so that was my entrepreneurial experience. But I was also, before I got into the spirits industry, a divisional vice president of operations for one of the largest financial entities in America. So kind of went in blind and learned a lot and having fun with it.
Amazing. That's amazing. So let's get on to why we're actually talking right now. So as you know, tell us a little bit about what you're going to. I think a lot of brands are kind of facing problems in terms of what they can do right now. So maybe you could tell us what you're doing at Teeq, like currently with the outbreak. What are you doing? How are you maintaining the brand?
Yeah, so obviously a lot has changed. We just won in the San Francisco World Spirits Competition for all three spirits, actually, which is an amazing honor. And typically, right now, I'd be on a press run. I'd probably be out in California, but with, you know, everything going on, that had to change. And that's kind of business anyway. Is like you always have to change, and go with the flow. And so for us, it's still an opportunity. It's an opportunistic time right now. So what I've been doing is a lot of research. I've been learning even more about social media marketing and branding. And that's where I've been utilizing the majority of my time because, there's a lot of markets. Our market is actually getting shut down today to where you're not supposed to go outside. So now I'm focusing on the digital platform, which I have been all along, but Facebook ads, social media ads, Google keyword ads, marketing as far as, email marketing, looking into text message marketing, doing a lot of content branding, LinkedIn, different sources like that. So even though it's a little bit tricky right now, there's still a lot that you can do. And that's what I've been focusing on mostly is social media marketing and, creating the visibility. So that way, once this ends, it'll make it much easier and it'll benefit us because, you know, it, it's going to end. There's no doubt about it. It's just when. And so we have to ride out the storm, but that's what I've been doing. The other thing that I've been doing is going live on social media. So that way people, understand what small liquor brands are going through as well, as the service industry. So there's a lot that we can actually do. And I think for, smaller brands, getting out there, marketing, branding, using the digital platform because it's expansive. You can reach the entire globe. That is something that I'm focused on right now and getting better at it.
That's amazing. I completely agree with you. Actually, I was writing up an article earlier last week actually, and we were just again focusing on what brands can do. And like you said, marketing was one of the major things that I found for my research. So, like you spoke about visibility. So basically, like what I learned was like connect with your audience, and you can also pull in a new audience through the visibility that we're creating right now.
Absolutely. I've been getting in front of the camera. I've been making cocktails, and these are cocktails that are simple to make at home. They're easy. They're with ingredients that people probably already have, so they don't have to go out to the store, and put themselves in potential harm's way unnecessarily. So The other thing is just kind of creating an element of getting to know me, but it's also a party, you know, entertainment, and I think it's really important right now, especially for brand owners, to get in front of a camera. It doesn't matter if it's your phone, you know, a tablet, a laptop, whatever it may be. Just get out there so people, you know, identify you, recognize, and then you create that, you know, that bond, you know, and so when people go to the liquor store or convenience store, whatever it may be, they identify with your brand. Oh, that's that guy. You know, I need to try that. And it's worked for me. It really has. Like this past weekend, I've received some messages from people because of my videos going out and buying our tequila.
That's amazing. I think a lot of times people do forget that marketing is a huge part of the industry. Like everyone's so focused on distribution and production and getting into restaurants and retail shelves. I think marketing, a lot of us do forget about marketing.
Yeah, it's my strong suit. It's something, you know, back in the day I used to do with the record label, but it was much different. You know, this was the early 2000s, so it was paper flyers and posters. We didn't have this digital platform that we have right now, so it makes it, you know, so much easier to be able to get, you know, your word out there, your brand, your message, your ideology, and allow people to connect with you.
Definitely. So let's talk a little bit more on like the staffing side. I know that a lot of brands are having trouble kind of, figuring out what to do with their staff, what's going on. Like for us as well, we did a lot of cutting down in terms of we sent everyone home for 2 months, and of course that has to be done because that's first safety first. But then again, cost always matters. So we're kind of getting everyone to like work half the hours and paying half the wages so that it kind of helps the company as well. What would you suggest like smaller to medium liquor brands such as yourself would do, or what are you doing right now?
So with us, we just actually, I guess this is a bad time, but who knew? We just launched in California and Florida, and we're looking at, you know, bringing on sales staff, hiring, and obviously we had to put that on halt for now. California is locked down. I'm not sure about Florida. Michigan is about to be locked down. So our salespeople here in Michigan, you know, really safety is what matters first. And what we've been doing is controlling more of the narrative with sales via social media, Google, Pinterest, all these different platforms. And our salespeople have just kind of hung back. You know, we only have a couple here in Michigan, um, and they're part time at that. So, but with using the digital platforms, i.e., social media, we have actually seen our sales start to go up. Our marketing department, which is, you know, a couple of people, they've been doing a really good job assisting me. Our PR company that we use, we've kind of put that on hiatus as well because everything in the news right now is just focused on the coronavirus. So why waste those efforts? So it's been a challenge, but what's amazing is our sales are actually up. So I guess prohibition has kind of taught us that you know, during these tough times, people still want to enjoy themselves, and they're going to enjoy themselves at home. But yeah, as far as our staff, you know, it's kind of scaled down, and everybody's kind of hanging tight right now, until this cloud lifts and we can get back to business as normal.
So, like we were talking a couple of days earlier, you said that you have all the production for Teak done. Knock on wood, Teak has a lot of production already done, so you're not having trouble in stocking retail shelves. But for brands who haven't probably had all their production done, what would you suggest for them to focus on? Do you think that focusing on stocking up retail shelves would be their first problem, or do you think they should produce more at this time? What would you suggest for them?
I think it's a tough call. You know, I mean, right now, it, it, I think it depends on their marketing. So it depends on their sales. If they're a small brand and they're not really moving, you know, units at this time, I don't think upping production would be the route to go. I know there's a lot of distilleries around the country that have actually switched over to making and producing hand sanitizer, which is, I think it's incredible, that everybody's coming together and trying to, push an agenda of health and safety. So, if you're good on product, like we are, I wouldn't go into production, whatsoever at this time. Getting on retail shelves, it's a little tricky because I know a lot of salespeople are not out in the field. So you kind of have to rely going back on the marketing and the branding and getting the word out there to create those sales, and then you can kind of adjust your business from there. With our model, that's what we're doing. And luckily, we had a big order come in right before everything hit. So as far as product, we are fine. We are not at a loss whatsoever. But there's a couple of things that fell through. I mean, big festivals that were going to order, 100 cases. But that's why we stocked up. And now those type of events have kind of fell through. So I think, really what a brand needs to do is just kind of look at their own, business, see where they're at. They should be on a good cycle of, when I reach this point, this is where we need to start making more. But you really have to have a handle on your business right now, even more so. It's that important.
Completely. So, like we just spoke about, kind of product is all stocked up, and it's hard to get onto retail shelves right now because no one's out there. So of
Yes.
course, like, brands are going to be looking for different ways of revenue. And like we were talking earlier, Teak is kind of doing merch. So could you tell us a little bit more about that? Like, what are you doing to create revenue, and what is something that other brands can do? Like, a lot of them are doing sanitizers, which is kind of helping the community and also gaining revenue for them. So what are some of the things that you're doing, and what are some of the things like other brands can do?
Yeah, so I think the sanitizer thing is really, really fantastic. We're a tequila brand, so our tequila is not made here in America. It's made in Mexico, so we don't have that option. But one of the things is, merchandise as far as hats, lip balm is actually really popular. T-shirts. We have an incredible logo with the hummingbird, so we're creating an online store and trying to get that up and running as quickly as possible. And it's not to get rich. It does twofold. It creates a walking billboard. It creates more visibility and branding for your company. But then on top of it, if you can make a little bit of money to kind of, tide you over, that would be fantastic. I've been doing some consulting as well on the side. I own another company called Teak Life, which does social media influencing for the liquor industry. And so I've been, concentrating a little bit more on that because I do a lot of video, a lot of content creation, and right now all I have is time. So I've been keeping busy and looking at different avenues, and some of the small businesses that I do know of, they've been kind of doing the same thing, looking at merch, looking at different opportunities. Here with the distilleries, a lot of them are doing private barrels for stores. So for the retail, they'll create a blend specifically for that retail location. So I think that's really smart, and that would be a great agenda to push for a lot of brands, that are only available in a particular region.
Right. So, a little bit on, let's talk. Like, I just want to know your view on kind of what's happening. Like, what do you think? Like, we already spoke about marketing, we spoke about how we can retain sales and everything, and we spoke about staff. But how about, like, what's next? Like, what do you like? What are you preparing for something other than marketing?
So, I mean, press is really difficult. We actually had a huge interview that we did with one of the top financial publications that kind of got pushed to the side. So it's hard to focus on too many other things just because all of the restaurants and bars here are closed, so we can't, reach out to them. Retail, we have a strong foothold. Um, California is shut down. Florida's probably on its way. So it's really tough to have any sort of a different agenda than creating content, using social media, using email marketing, just different things like that. It's really a difficult time because everything is completely up in the air. We have big retailers that we were set to have presentations with, and unfortunately, they got canceled. So it's a lot of uncertainty right now, and the best thing is just to be optimistic, you know, control what you can and do everything that you possibly can to grow and further your brand so that way once we come out of, this type of situation, you can hit the ground running. So putting things in place is what we're doing, creating an agenda with our PR team, a little bit more with marketing and sales. So that way, once this is done, hopefully soon, we can just get back to, really hitting the ground running because it does go into tequila season with Cinco de Mayo coming up.
Right, definitely. And so, like we spoke, how about what, like we said, sales are really like no one's out there in the market. So, what do you think about online portals? Like, there's Taproom, there's Drizzly, there's Vine Sleuth, which has like a lot of, all spirits and wines on it, and you can just kind of order online and delivery. What's your take on that? Does Teak have a delivery process right now? Are you on
So
any online portals?
So we are not on any online portals, and unfortunately, we were in negotiation with a couple that were based in California, and the talks ceased because of lockdowns. So that became pretty challenging and a bit disappointing. But yeah, if there are brands that have the opportunity to jump onto that online portal, absolutely. But just keep in mind, even those online portals, you're still going to have to do the marketing. You're still going to have to do some sort of advertising to let people know that they can order. And right now, we had a package sent to California that is actually being returned because there are nobody in the offices. So that becomes a little bit of a challenge. So if there are, opportunities for a brand to jump online, absolutely. 20% of all sales in the liquor industry last year were actually online sales. So it is a growing sector. There's no doubt about it. Um, it's just yeah, it might pose a little difficulty right now for brands to get into the door to utilize those services. But if you do have that opportunity, you do have a connection and a rapport being built, jump on it immediately.
Amazing. So, what would be your, to sum everything up, what would be your one word tip for all brands out there?
Market, brand, utilize all social media platforms. I've looked at them all, and my website hits have been up 15% over the last a week and a half. But it's all about marketing and branding, content, creation really works out. And maybe even look into the influencer market, and get product to some influencers, micro influencers, and work with them.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Don. It was amazing talking to you, and I'm sure all brands listening to this are going to take a lot from this.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.